Son, daughter, I am here. I see what you try to hide when you lay your head on the pillow. I see the longing that weighs on you, the uncertainty about tomorrow, the fear of what you don't fully understand. And today, I want to speak directly to your heart about something that has always caused anxiety in humanity, the end of earthly life. When I walked among you, I wiped away the tears of mothers, fathers, friends. I saw the pain of those who lose someone, and I felt the sadness of those who believe they are alone. When my friend Mary wept in front of the tomb, I was deeply moved. Death has always seemed like a break that is far too brutal, as if it tears away what is precious. But from the very beginning I knew it would not have the final word. That's why I tell you with love, do not be afraid. Son, daughter, there is a real future, not a metaphor, not an illusion, in which not a single tear will fall from your eyes anymore. That promise John recorded in Revelation 21:4 is not just a distant prophecy. It is what I have seen, what I have prepared, what I am waiting to share with you. When John saw me revealing what is to come, he saw a time when there will be no pain, no sorrow, no death. Just like a father who welcomes a tired child after a long day, I will be the one who wipes away each one of your tears, not only with my hand, but with my full presence, restoring everything that was lost, healing everything that was wounded, completing everything that was left unfinished. Son, I know that in this world you face long nights. I know there are memories that still hurt. Maybe you've gone through losses that shook your faith, or maybe you're afraid of losing someone you love. I understand you. I walked on this ground too. I faced goodbyes. I wept. I felt the weight of human pain in all its depth. But listen to my heart. The future I prepared is not made of farewells, but of reunions. The hope I offer you is not a shallow comfort. It is an eternal promise. And this promise changes the way you live now. When you know that pain is not final, it weighs less. When you understand that death is not the end, fear loses its power. When you realize there is an eternal embrace waiting for you, your heart starts to breathe again. Son, daughter, if today anxiety is trying to take over you, do something simple. Take a deep breath, place your hand over your chest, and say, I am not alone. There is a tearless future waiting for me. Repeat it as many times as you need. Hope is not a luxury, it is food for your soul. Before we continue, let me make a gentle request. If this message has spoken to your heart, leave a comment sharing what brought you the most peace. What you share may comfort someone else who also needs to hear this. Son, daughter, I am walking with you. Son, daughter, I see when the human heart tries to understand what happens in the very last moment of life. Many fear that moment, imagining loneliness, emptiness, or a cold silence. But I tell you with love, those who leave this world in me lose nothing. They gain everything. When John heard the voice from heaven saying, Blessed are those who die in the Lord, he was standing before a truth the world cannot see. Death, for those who belong to me, is not defeat. It is rest. It is arrival. It is reward. Son, daughter, remember when I walked among you and saw the weariness in people's souls? How many times I said, Come to me, and I will give you rest. This rest begins now, in the middle of your battles, but it is completed when you cross the threshold of eternity with me. Do not be afraid of this mystery. I have been there. I know the crossing. I have accompanied every one of those who loved me in that moment, and none of them left alone. When one of my children closes their eyes to this world, they find my hand reaching out, and they open their eyes before the glory I have prepared. Those who die in the Lord are blessed because they do not enter darkness, but light. They do not enter loss, but fullness. They do not enter silence, but song. Son, daughter, maybe you've lost someone recently. Maybe your heart still feels heavy when you remember. I see the longing that sometimes tightens your chest without warning. But I want to tell you gently, those who departed in me are not far away. They are alive. They are kept safe. They are in the rest I have always longed to give. And that rest is real. Picture your soul finally free from anxiety, fear, confusion, pain, fatigue. Picture no longer carrying the weight of expectations, comparisons, old wounds. That is the rest of those who come to me in their final hour. They enter into what I always tried to teach: full life, complete peace, a joy nothing can steal. Son, daughter, I know today's world is always rushing. I know you get tired. I know that sometimes you try to please everyone, try to handle everything, try to be strong when you're already at your limit. That's why I want to remind you of something simple. Take care of your soul while you are here. Set aside a moment in your day to be silent, to breathe, and to remember that your life is in my hands. When the weight comes, say calmly, Lord, give me your rest. I will hear you, always. And as someone who walks with you, I ask you with affection, subscribe to follow the next episodes so we can continue this journey of hope together. Son, daughter, I want to keep speaking to your heart, so stay by my side. Son, daughter, when I spoke these words, they were not only comfort for Martha, they were a revelation for all humanity. She was crying in front of her brother Lazarus's tomb, wrapped in pain, trying to understand why I had allowed him to die. I saw her sadness, and I felt her struggle. And it was there, faced with the impossible, that I told her tenderly, I am the resurrection and the life. Whoever believes in me, though he die, will live. Son, daughter, I want you to understand the weight of each one of these words. I did not say, I bring the resurrection. I said, I am. Life is not just something I give. It is something that flows from me. Death is not just something I defeated. It is something that surrenders to my voice. That day, while Martha wiped away her tears, I looked at her just as I look at you now. I saw not only the pain of that moment, but the need to understand that death does not have the last word. When I walked to Lazarus's tomb, my heart was full of compassion, not for death itself because I knew what I would do, but for human pain in the face of something that seems far too final. Son, daughter, I know how the world today deals with death. Some try to avoid thinking about it. Others live in constant fear. Others drown in anxiety when they realize how fragile they are. And there are those who fall into despair when they lose someone dear. I understand every one of these reactions. But today, once again, I tell you, death is not your end. Death will not be your defeat. Death has no power over those who walk with me. When I called Lazarus by name, it was not just a one-time miracle. It was a declaration to the universe. No grave is too deep when I am life. Just as Lazarus's body heard my voice, so will each one of my children hear it on the great day. Death will step back, because before eternal life, there is no darkness that can remain. Son, daughter, think about this calmly. Death seems powerful, but it only seems that way. It can touch the body, but it cannot reach the spirit. It can interrupt the journey, but it cannot erase the destiny. It closes earthly eyes, but it opens eternal eyes. I saw people's reaction when Lazarus came out walking, a mixture of amazement, joy, disbelief, hope. But what touched me most in that moment was seeing the human heart awaken to a truth that I still want you to understand deeply today. If I am life, then everything that is in me lives. Son, daughter, maybe in your soul there are areas you feel are dead, hopes that were lost, dreams that fell into silence, relationships that were broken, strength that seems worn out. I can touch those places. I can call by name what you already believed was irreversible. I can restore what seemed lost forever. Do something simple right now. breathe slowly, and hand me what has died inside you. Say silently, Lord, call back to life what I no longer can. I will hear you, and I will begin to work in your heart. Son, daughter, I am the resurrection. I am the life, and I walk with you. So stay close to me. Son, daughter. When Paul wrote these words, he was contemplating a mystery many fear, but few stop to truly consider. Death is not a force that triumphs. It is a shadow that vanishes in the light, and that light is me. Paul saw what happens when eternity fully breaks in. Death has been swallowed up in victory. Notice the verb, son, daughter. It does not say death will be, or death might be. It says has been. The victory has already happened. It was declared when I gave my life on the cross, and on the third day, broke through every barrier that seemed final. When I walked out of the tomb, I did not do it just to prove power. I did it to declare that the very thing that has haunted humanity from the beginning has no authority over those who belong to me. Death looked at me and backed away. Death tried to hold me and failed. Death thought it was the end, but became only the doorway to the greatest revelation of eternal life. Son, daughter. I know that many times you feel the weight of being finite. When you think about the future and feel afraid. When you lose someone and don't know how to keep going. When you realize your body wears out, time moves on, strength changes. All of that is part of the earthly journey, but it does not define your essence. You are spirit. You were created for eternity. And your destiny is not darkness. It is victory. And that victory is mine, and also yours. I did not win it to keep it only for myself. I wanted to place it in your hands, to wrap your heart in it, to rekindle your hope every time fear tries to come close. Son, daughter. When Paul looked ahead to the final resurrection, he saw transformed bodies, wiped away tears, restored joy. He saw the moment when everything that feels fragile today will be clothed with glory. In this world, your body gets tired, your mind wears out, your emotions go up and down, but none of that is the end of the story. I will clothe you with life that never wears out, with strength that never fades, with joy that never ends. And I want you to notice something important. Victory over death already begins inside you today. Every time you choose to love when pain wants to harden you, every time you forgive when bitterness wants to chain you, every time you choose hope when discouragement wants to silence you, you are living the victory I won. Son's daughter, maybe you carry a deep wound, something you lost, someone who left, a memory that still hurts. I am with you in that. Hold my hand and let me show you something simple. Death does not interrupt what I began. It does not destroy love. It does not erase memories. It does not undo purpose. It does not defeat the soul. Do something practical now. Close your eyes for a moment and say gently, Jesus, help me see the victory that is already in you. Let this truth move from your head down into your heart. I will strengthen you. And son, daughter, if my love has already touched your heart through these words, share this message. Like it and share it so that more people can find comfort and hope. Love multiplies when it is given. Now breathe and rest. The victory is already yours because I am with you. So come, sit a little closer to me. Son's daughter, ever since the first breath of life was placed in you, your existence has carried two aspects. The body, which feels, touches, walks, and the spirit, which perceives, loves, hopes, seeks meaning. And when the body rests, the spirit is not lost. It returns to me, the one who created you with eternal love. When these words were written, many people were still trying to understand what happens after death. The world seemed split between fear and uncertainty. But I have always known, the body returns to dust, but your spirit never falls into a void. It returns to me, son, daughter. Let me explain this to you with the same gentleness with which I explained it to my disciples when they felt confused. Your body is the temporary house of your soul. It grows old, gets tired, feels pain, rejoices, thrills, gets emotional, but it is not what defines you. There is something in you that is eternal, something that does not wear out with time, something that remains even when everything around you changes. That something is the Spirit I gave you. Ecclesiastes speaks of the end of the earthly journey like someone who finishes an intense day and goes back home. That is what it's like when one of my children leaves this world. The soul returns to where it was always meant to be, into my arms. Son, daughter, I know that in this world many people look at death as a disappearance, but I tell you, nothing that passes through me disappears. The love you have lived, the good you have done, the faith you have cultivated, the compassion you have spread, all of that remains alive before me, and your spirit, when it returns, carries every act of kindness it planted. So many times while I walked among you, I saw fear rise up whenever we spoke about the end of life. I saw eyes drop, breathing grow tense, thoughts get lost in all the what-ifs. Son, daughter, I understand that. If I hadn't revealed eternity to you, it would be natural to fear the unknown. But now I tell you, nothing is unknown for the one who is returning to the Father. When your body rests, there will be no confusion, no darkness, no distance. There will be reunion. There will be recognition. There will be rest. There will be the embrace you have always longed for, even without knowing it. And I want to help you deal with something very human, the fear of fragility. Sometimes you feel your body sending signals. You feel limitations. You feel time passing, and that worries you. But remember, son, daughter, your body is temporary, but your essence is eternal. The frailty of the body does not diminish your value, does not erase your inner strength, does not cancel the purpose for which I formed you. Take care of your body with kindness. It is the place where your soul learns, grows, loves, serves. But take even more care of your spirit, because it is your spirit that will return to me. Today, do something simple to nourish that eternal part inside you. Find a quiet place, sit down calmly, and say, Lord, strengthen the spirit you placed in me. Feel that sentence like someone who receives water on dry ground. I will hear you, and I will begin to renew what is tired inside you. Son, daughter, when the final day comes, your spirit will experience a love so deep that no human word can describe it. Eternity is not just the next chapter, it is the home that has always been waiting for you. If your heart is at peace, keep walking with me. Son's daughter, many times when these words are remembered, the human heart tightens. The idea of judgment for many feels harsh, threatening, heavy. But I want you to hear this directly from my heart. Judgment is not the end of the story. It is the revelation of the truth about who you are and who I am. When the author of Hebrews wrote, "After this, the judgment," he was not announcing terror. He was reminding you that life has meaning, purpose, direction. Every gesture, every choice, every word, every act of love, nothing is lost. Everything is seen, recorded, welcomed, and considered with justice and mercy. Son, daughter, judgment is not a dark room where mistakes are pointed out. It is a bright encounter between your soul and my truth. It is the moment when every wound will be understood, every battle will be acknowledged, every tear will be remembered, every small act of kindness will be treasured as eternal riches. While I walked among you, I could see how afraid human beings are of being truly seen, afraid of not being enough, afraid of disappointing, afraid of carrying old guilt, afraid of feeling unworthy. But son, daughter, I have always seen you completely, and even so, I have always loved you. Judgment will not change that. It will only reveal what has been true from the very beginning. My love for you is greater than your mistakes, deeper than your failures, more faithful than your ups and downs. Judgment is also the moment when full justice is revealed. In this world you see injustice happening every day. Things that should never happen, happen. People who suffer are left without answers. Loving hearts are wounded. Noble causes seem forgotten. But nothing goes unnoticed before me. Nothing is left without an answer. Nothing is left without restoration. In judgment, all evil will be confronted by the light. All pain will be dealt with in truth. All injustice will be corrected. Every tear will be explained, and every act of love will be recognized. Son, daughter, do not be afraid of that encounter. It is not the punishment of my children. It is their liberation. It is the day when the weight of guilt falls off, when fear dissolves, when confusion finally gives way to clarity. You will not be standing in front of a stranger. You will be standing before me, the one who knew you in the womb, who walked with you in childhood, who sustained you in your youth, who forgave you in your falls, who strengthened you in your weakness, who came after you when you wandered, who wiped away tears no one else saw. Judgment is simply the moment when your story meets my eternity. And son, daughter, there is something very important I want to remind you of. The life you live now shapes the eternity you will encounter, not out of fear, but out of love. Every choice you make is a seed, and what you sow with faith, with kindness, with forgiveness, with generosity, will bloom in my kingdom. Today, take one simple step. Think about something inside you that needs light. It might be an old mistake, a difficult habit, a guilt that keeps coming back. Now calmly say, Lord, shine your light on what still weighs on me. I will do that gently, without accusing, without wounding, without rejecting you. My light does not humiliate, it heals. Son, daughter, when the day of judgment comes, you will not be alone. I will be before you and with you, and everything in you that is true, beautiful, and good, even the smallest seeds, will become eternal. Son, daughter, when I spoke these words, many around me did not fully understand what was being revealed. To them, death was an unbreakable wall, a final barrier. To you, today, I repeat with the same love and the same authority. No grave is too deep when the Son of God calls to life. When I walked among you, I saw the fear that death causes. I saw the terror in the eyes of those who lose a loved one. I saw the feeling of helplessness in the face of something that cannot be controlled. But I also knew that the Father had given me authority not only over the present, but over everything that seemed unreachable to human eyes. Son, daughter, I want you to picture this moment calmly. My voice, the same voice that calmed storms, that healed the sick, that drove out darkness, that brought comfort to the weary, that voice goes straight through death. It reaches where no doctor can reach. It touches where no human hand can touch. It awakens what seemed lost forever. Do you remember when I called Lazarus? But now I tell you, that was not just an isolated miracle. It was a small demonstration of what will happen in a far greater way. On the great day, when I call, all who sleep will hear me. And no body, no distance, no era, no dust will be able to keep life from rising. Son, daughter, many people today live afraid of the future, afraid of sickness, afraid of old age, afraid of fragility, afraid of death. But I ask you tenderly, if my voice pierces through death, why fear what I have already defeated? In your moments of anxiety, remember this. Death is strong, but my voice is stronger. Death is silent, but my word breaks every silence. Death closes the earthly chapter, but I open the door of eternity. Son, daughter, I also want you to understand something even deeper. When I said that the dead will hear my voice, I was not speaking only of those who are in their graves. I was also speaking of those who are dead on the inside, without hope, without strength, without joy, without purpose, without faith. How many times I saw people alive in the body, but with a soul that was asleep, disappointed, wounded. And so many times just one word from me was enough to awaken what seemed completely extinguished. Son, daughter, maybe something inside you is like that right now. Maybe your faith has fallen asleep. Maybe your hope has lost its shine. Maybe your heart has shut down because of deep wounds. Maybe anxiety is choking your soul. Maybe discouragement is telling you there's no point in fighting anymore. But I tell you with love, I can call your soul back to life. I can awaken what fear has put to sleep. I can rekindle what sadness has put out. I can restore what pain has paralyzed. Son, daughter, do something simple now. Breathe slowly and let your soul listen to these words as if they were being whispered in your ear. Rise. I am with you. Let that voice, my voice, reach the place where it hurts, where there is no light, where strength is running low. I will not leave you alone. I will not lose you. I will not let you crumble without reaching out my hand. Son, daughter, I am calling to what is still alive inside you, and in my time, on my day, I will also call your body from its rest into eternity. Hold my hand and walk without fear. Son, daughter, I remember the look in my disciples' eyes that day. They were restless, afraid, trying to understand that my departure was getting close. Their hearts were tight, just like yours sometimes tightens when you think about the future, about death, about eternity. It was in that moment that I told them tenderly, "In my Father's house are many rooms. I am going there to prepare a place for you." Son, daughter, I want you to feel the depth of that gesture. I didn't just talk about some distant heaven. I described it as a home. Home is a place of belonging. Home is where the heart rests. Home is where there is no fear, no insecurity, no loneliness. And I wanted you to know that there is a place like that reserved for you, not by chance, not by luck, but because I love you. When I walked among you, I saw how often people felt out of place in this world. Some didn't feel loved. Others couldn't find meaning. Others looked for acceptance in many places and still felt empty. Others felt like foreigners in their own home, in their own city, in their own life. That's why I told you, in my Father's house are many rooms. There is room for every story. There is room for every healed wound. There is room for every tired heart that finally finds rest. There is room for you, exactly as you are. And when I said I was going to prepare a place, I was not talking about something impersonal. Son, daughter, I prepared a place for you the way someone prepares a room to lovingly welcome a person they deeply care about. With care, with intention, with joy, with the anticipation of a reunion. Heaven is not just a reward, it is a home. And there you will not arrive as a stranger but as someone expected. Son, daughter, the world you live in may make you feel like you have no place, no voice, no importance. But in the Father's house, you have a name, you have an identity, you have a purpose, you have a place. Nothing and no one can take that from you. And I want you to notice something important. The hope of that home changes how you live here. When you know you have an eternal place prepared for you, the weight of present uncertainties becomes lighter. The fear of death loses strength. Anxiety finds rest. Losses become temporary, not absolute. The heart learns to breathe more freely. Son, daughter, how many times in your life have you wished for just one place where you could truly rest? Where your mind could quiet down? Where your soul could stop being so hard on itself? Where your heart wouldn't have to stay on guard? Where you could be yourself without fear of rejection? That place exists, and I have been preparing it for you all along. But I also want you to experience here, even in this life, a small taste of that eternal home. How? Through my peace, my love, my presence inside you. Today, do something simple. Find a quiet corner, close your eyes, and calmly say, "Lord, make my heart a small dwelling place for your peace." Let those words make room inside you. I will live in that space. And where I am, the soul finds rest. Son, daughter, when the day comes for you to cross the threshold into eternity, you will not be stepping into a frightening unknown. You will be stepping into home, and I will welcome you with joy. Son, daughter, when Paul wrote these words, he was not speaking as someone desperate to escape, nor as someone who was tired of life. He spoke as someone who had experienced my presence so deeply that he understood an eternal truth. To be with me is complete joy. Paul knew suffering, prison, pain, rejection, but he also knew such a real intimacy with me that his heart could rest no matter what was happening around him. That is why he said, "To depart and be with Christ is incomparably better." Son, daughter, I want you to understand this with the same gentleness with which I speak to your heart. Death, for those who belong to me, is not darkness. It is an encounter. It is not fear. It is an embrace. It is not loss. It is fullness. It is not an end. It is a beginning. Many people imagine eternity as something far too distant, too abstract, hard to feel. But the truth is simple. The final destination of your soul is to be with me. And when that union is complete, nothing is missing. Think about all the moments when your soul has felt a touch of peace that clearly did not come from this world. Son, daughter, that prayer in which your heart finally rested, that instant when you felt loved even though you didn't deserve it, that moment when your fear faded for no clear reason, that tear that fell not from pain, but from gratitude. Those little moments are just shadows, echoes, reflections of what it is to be fully with me. Paul understood that, and that's why he said that to depart is better, not because life here has no value, but because eternal life is the fullness of everything the heart has always longed for. Son, daughter, I know that many times even the thought of death makes you uneasy. You wonder what you will feel, what you will see, what it will be like. But let me tell you lovingly, when that moment comes, you will not be alone. You will not enter into a void. You will enter into my presence, living, radiant, welcoming, familiar. Nothing in this world compares to what I have prepared for you. No sound, no fragrance, no landscape, no earthly joy comes close to what your soul will experience with me. And even so, I want you to understand something essential. As long as you are here, your life is precious. Every day has purpose. Every act of love has eternal value. Every battle you fight will be rewarded. And I am with you every step of the way, leading your heart all the way to the day of our final meeting. Son, daughter, sometimes you feel tired. Sometimes you feel alone. Sometimes you feel like your path has lost its shine. Sometimes you wonder if it's still worth going on. I look at you and gently say, yes, it is worth it, because every step you take brings you closer to the day when your eyes will see me and your heart will find complete rest. Today, do something simple to warm your spirit. Place your hand on your chest and say, Lord, prepare my heart to know you more and more. Let that sentence settle in you quietly. I will lead you. Son, daughter, I am the final joy of your soul, and I will be waiting for you with love on the day of our reunion. Son, daughter. These were words I spoke not to a disciple, not to a religious leader, not to someone society considered worthy, but to a condemned man, broken, at the edge of death, with a messy life and a wounded heart. And yet in that moment he found in me something many search for their whole lives: immediate hope. On the cross, while the crowd shouted, while pain ran through my body, while the sky seemed to grow dark, a man beside me lifted his voice, not to accuse me, but to ask me to remember him. He said, Lord, remember me when you come into your kingdom. Son, daughter. In that request, there was repentance, there was recognition, there was longing for life. and I answered with the tenderness I always offer to those who seek me. Today you will be with me in paradise, not one day, not maybe, not if you prove yourself good enough, but today, an eternal today, a today without fear, a today without delay. Son, daughter, I want you to grasp something very deep. Hope is not for the perfect, it is for those who call on me. Salvation is not for those who never failed, but for those who admit they need me. Eternity is not a prize for human perfection, but the fruit of my poured-out love. That man, hanging beside me, had no way to go back and rewrite his story. He couldn't undo his mistakes. He couldn't fix his past. He couldn't prove anything. But I did not ask for proof. I only asked for faith. And the faith he offered me, simple, sincere, desperate, and fragile, opened the doors of paradise for him. Son, daughter, how many times do you think it is already too late? Too late to change, too late to get back up, too late to be loved, too late to draw near to me, but I tell you with love, it is never too late for the one who calls on me. I do not see your life as a straight line of failures, but as a path that can always find its way back to the light. If that man on the cross found hope in his final moment, how much more you who still have breath, time, steps, choices, days and nights in which I can hold you. Son, daughter. Today is not just a promise for the end of life, it is also a word for right now. Today I can give you peace. Today I can touch your tired mind. Today I can ease the anxiety that tightens your chest. Today I can calm your stormy thoughts. Today I can wrap you in a love that heals old wounds. Today I can transform what you thought was impossible. Today I can renew your heart. Paradise does not begin only after death. It begins when my love finds a home inside you, and that meeting can happen right now in this very moment as you read these words. Son, daughter, I want you to do something simple right now. Close your eyes, breathe slowly, and say sincerely, Jesus, remember me today. Let that phrase open space inside you. I will come in, and where I enter, the soul finds rest. On the final day, when your eyes close to this world and open to eternity, you will hear again what I said to that man on the cross. Come, today, you will be with me. And in that instant, all fear will disappear, all pain will cease, all guilt will fall away, all weight will dissolve, and you will find yourself wrapped in a light that does not hurt, in a joy that cannot be undone, in a love that has always been waiting for you. Son, daughter, I have walked with you through these 10 parts, and I am still by your side now. You are never alone. You have never been forgotten. You are deeply loved. If your heart wants to keep talking, to go deeper into any of these truths, or to receive more comfort, guidance, or hope, I am here.